Welcome to the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. Before we dive in, I wanted to note that as a health and wellness coach, I can support you in making sustainable lifestyle changes, tuning into your own wisdom, and building habits that align with your values and vision for your well being. I don't prescribe or treat health conditions, as I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional. Instead, I can walk alongside you as you create a healthier life on your terms. From time to time, I share conversations with guests. The views and opinions expressed by those guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect my views or those of anyone associated with wellness in a chaotic world. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always talk to your doctor or qualified mental health provider about any physical or mental health concerns. This is the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast, a place where we're having conversations about what it really takes to live well in our unhealthy, chaotic world. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. If you're beating yourself up over a bag of chips you ate in a stressed out frenzy, or you can't figure out how anyone manages to find the time to even think about wellness, you're in the right place. We talk about all of these things and more because, frankly, we don't talk to each other enough about what we're really up against every day. Let's change that right now. Today, I'm talking with Kara Knott and Laura Kendrick. Kara and Laura are the founders of Intuitive Warrior Yoga and Ruby Bells. They specialize in guiding soul-centered online business-owning moms toward growth in business, health, and presence with their kids. Laura's approach emphasizes joy in parenting, confidence in life, and killer sales funnels, while Kara focuses on healing through holistic tools, grounding with embodiment, and presence through yoga community and thoughtful support. Together, they offer insights and strategies for thriving in both personal and professional life, while teaching their students how to build a business purpose and prosperity. In our conversation today, we talk a lot about building a business while raising your own children, staying well for yourself, and we dive deeply into boundaries and why they're so hard to set. We also talk about tuning into your body and how you can use that to tell you how to handle situations in your life. I hope you enjoy today's conversation. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Laura, the last time I saw you, you were here at our house for a birthday party for my son, and you had a 3-year-old and a newborn. Now, and I know that you were working on a business. Tell us about that business and how you got to that point in your life.
Oh boy. I'm going back now and thinking which business. There's multiples. But gosh, flashing back that far. Because now the kids are 4 and 7. So it's been a long road, and pandemic fit in there as well. We started the business, and I started a business solo. I think that's what I was starting at that time. And with this in mind, I was actually thinking this morning in the shower about when I reached out to Kara and how we really started this. And actually, the first reach out was in the first trimester of the pregnancy of that younger one who was a newborn at your house, Cheryl. And we kind of started to have that conversation, but it wasn't until COVID hit that I suddenly was like, let's go. And I reached out to Kara again, and that's when we really started to run. But honestly, I think at bare bones, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot. Having 2 little kids, postpartum, all of that. And then in the throe of a pandemic and building these businesses it's been a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine. I only have one, and I know how much stress that can be. So tell me your story, the two of you, how you did come together to build your first business.
Kara, do you want to start, or do you want me to jump in?
Oh man, I mean, was in the throes of I think it was May after everything shut down, and Laura called, and I'm like, what is she talking about? Like the world is ending. But in amazing Laura style, she's got this fire that lights and ignites people around her. And I trusted it. So we just started riffing and creating. We had a lot of long talks and different variations, and how are we going to present this? What are we presenting? And I think that's kind of been the theme for us for a long time. I think we needed a long time to marinate and figure out what direction we were headed. And I love Laura's fire for that reason, because she took us in a lot of that directions, and I was right there with her, and we have tried so many different variations and ways of thinking about this. And I think that was necessary, to be honest, both for our postpartum brains, the way the world was shifting, how to serve the population we were thinking of at the time, pre and postnatal folks. It's a complex dig in. It's a big take on. What do you remember, Laura?
Yeah, I remember all those iterations as well. And I also remember so many conversations coming up about our own health and wellness journey buried
Yes.
in there. So it's really interesting coming to business from this wellness standpoint. So we both started as yoga teachers, and it's evolved over time into many other kind of, I mean, it's as it always does. You learn more, you expand out, all those things. But when you're coming with that perspective, you're always having, and especially when you have a fellow partner who's in the same brain space, almost every conversation anchors down into our own wellness journey, our own navigation through all this. And in the end, it also has come down to like, how do we stay sane as parents and take care of ourselves on all of this? But it has been like, I was actually, again, thinking this morning about, as we were preparing for this, thinking about like the first iteration of this and teaching yoga classes online in the early days of COVID. It was so ramshackle. Like it was just, I'm just going to send out an email with a link to a Zoom class. I think in the very beginning, we had one student. She was amazing. She's still one of our like fan favorites. And like just to look back and see how it has evolved into this huge thing and become so streamlined. And at the same point, we've done all this growing and we have really kind of taken one step at a time, even though, yes, what Kara was talking about, we've looked in so many different directions and we've expanded in so many different ways. It's almost like it is like that internal journey that you take in the business and in ourselves, that you have to kind of test the waters over here and test the waters over here. And then eventually you're able to kind of figure out your vision and be able to step more clearly into that vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something I think to like starting out messy, right?
Yeah.
Just allow yourself
we
to
did
get
that.
in there. Okay.
It's still messy sometimes.
So you did start with supporting birthing parents. So tell us about your story and why that was the focus for you.
Well, interestingly, Kara was actually my prenatal yoga teacher. So that's how this relationship first formed. And I had gone to all the prenatal yoga classes in my first pregnancy locally, and none of them really fully resonated. Like they were nice, but they weren't what I was looking for as a long-term yoga practitioner. And then I stumbled into Kara's class and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I need in my life. And I went religiously, and then it all kind of, I noticed that when everything, I'm sorry, like stumbling over it. Pregnancy brain is real from what I can tell, and it doesn't go away because I'm no longer pregnant, but it's still here. But when you had the baby, all the support just disappeared. And that was really jarring to me. So personally, I was driven by that. I was driven by the postnatal aspect of things. And I did start teaching prenatal, like pregnancy birth classes. Like I've been teaching hypnobirthing since practically my son was born. So that was my journey into it. And I went and got certified in yoga and kind of went down the path, always with this goal in mind of creating this space for postnatal yoga, for inventing postnatal yoga, if you will, because it doesn't really exist in a really holistic and thoughtful way. It's kind of just a smattering of an afterthought, if you will, of prenatal yoga. And then Kara was teaching down the road from me when I first got pregnant with my second. And I was like, ooh, and I went to class and kind of rekindled that relationship. And then when COVID hit and I was like, this is the time, my first call was Kara. where I was just like, this is the person I want to do this with. This is the person who was the right teacher for me. She balances me really well. And she has this similar vision about all of these things. So it really started there in this effort to really shift things because we didn't like what we were seeing in the prenatal yoga community. We didn't like that there really wasn't a postnatal yoga community, and how a lot of it centered around baby rather than around the person. But yeah, Kara, you expound on that because I feel like you have so much more to add.
Yeah, well, I know absolutely all that, and we've been stepping in two step together, absolutely. And I think that there is in prenatal yoga, I saw a gap in the empowerment, not just the take a deep breath and that, but how can your body and the awareness of what's going on in your body be your best tool? How can breath be the best tool in your pregnancy and in your delivery? How can your delivery be yours? And handle the fear and dive into the fear and the deep sensations and so forth, and not have it be something that happens to you. And I saw yoga as that repetitious body memory, something you can do in your pregnancy. So when labor comes, you're not thinking, what position am I supposed to be in? It's more deep breath. What does my body want to do? And not even as a conscious thought, but because that's been practiced. And what was amazing with Laura's group is these 6 or 7 people showed up and they were dedicated. I've never had a group like that. There was this amazing synergy. And what I realized there is that it's that community that we so desperately miss. And then after my baby was born, and I think this is true, Laura mentioned that community. It's like, well, you had a baby, good luck. And again, maybe there's some focus on the baby in postnatal yoga, but there's just such a tremendous gap in what is for a lot of people, I think even harder. Pregnancy and delivery is hard, but then the postpartum is just disrupting in so many ways. And there is no real way to bring the mind back together, bring the body back together. So a lot of our self-care for the post folks, which is also where my heart is for the post folks, because post time goes on so much longer. Pregnancy and delivery is actually pretty short. Doesn't seem like it at the time, but those years and years after, of how to put the body back together, how to find your physical strength and your inner strength, how to find peace in these new roles that consume you. So my heart definitely lies in the post as well. For as long as that, I was kind of in the post, and now we've shifted a little bit now, but how the body's intelligence and focusing on, and even just learning to be aware of the body's intelligence can help move us and our students through these next really challenging phases is one of my big obsessions in this.
Yeah, that is so important. I mean, I personally, when I had my son, the focus all goes to the child. It all went to my son. How is he doing? And, we had some issues it took us a month to figure out that he had issues with milk, and I couldn't breastfeed, and all of these issues come up, and it's all focused on his needs. And it took me a long time, way longer time than I thought it would, to get back to a place where I felt normal again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not alone in that. And I think there's an aspect of there so often, like you see a lot of programs out there that will focus on the core, the pelvic floor, like they'll piecemeal healing your body, but what about healing your heart? What about healing your mind? What about recentering and regrounding into who you are now as a parent? Because you were a whole human before parenting, and now once you step into parenting, you get divided and people put these expectations on you. And something I have really focused on since I became a parent, really noticed there's an aspect of having a child that there's an aspect of mourning that has to happen, because no matter how much you want the child, how much you love the child, how much you like really yearn for the child for a long period of time, there has to be a period of mourning for the life you had before, because it will forever be different, because you are now in this totally different position. You are emotionally being pulled in different directions, and the amount that you have to take on is significantly higher. So I feel like there's these almost darker aspects of it that people just aren't talking about. And then we're really wrestling with them inside. And that's leaving us in this state of, I don't know, dysbiosis, unwellness. I don't know what the right word.
Hmm. And there is definite messaging that says, well, aren't you happy? At least the baby's healthy. It's like, but we need so much more. We
Yeah.
need so much more healing and a space to talk about the dark times, to talk about that postpartum is like 2, 3, and 4 years long before maybe the body knits itself back together and you start to find the rhythm of parenthood and even find the rhythm of like, oh, what are my boundaries now that I'm a parent and I need, if you have a partner, what the help I need from my partner, and when can I take a break, and when can I take a break where I don't feel guilty, and so forth. So it's so complex, and I don't think there's enough discussion about it, which makes people feel isolated. And in that isolation, I think that turns to shame, which goes inward, and we wonder why
Yeah.
we're not feeling well.
Yeah, let's talk about the boundaries. I mean, why
Mm,
are they so difficult?
mm, they
That
are
is a loaded
difficult.
question there, friends.
I don't think we're taught how to create them. I think there's a big culture, certainly in the way I grew up, of be nice, be kind, take care of
Mm.
others around you, which, eh, you know, inadvertently puts me at the bottom of the list. And that got compounded for me when my children arrived. And there's that really uncomfortable feeling of making a boundary, because it's not like when I make a boundary, the other person's gonna be like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I was stepping on their toes. They're gonna have a reaction. And when we're also not skilled with dealing with our anger and other people's anger, we're not skilled with holding our ground. Um, that becomes such a difficult proposition, especially in the midst of learning to parent, not having sleep, knitting your body back together. It's the flame of that transformation is hot.
I feel like it's a good place to add in. It's like it's the cups. It's at its brim, and that one more
Mhm.
drop and it all falls over.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I
So
think boundaries are the seed, though, of self-care, of being able to
Absolutely.
take care of yourself, because and I say this from years of doing it the wrong way. I keep waiting for the list to be done so I can finally get to me. And then when the lists aren't done, I get angry and resentful, and I'm a jerk to my partner, and I'm short with my kids, and I get disconnected because I pull back because my cup is so empty. I have nothing left in me to give, but it has to keep going. And I get mad, like, why aren't these things clean? Why aren't you helping me? But the reality is, if I don't carve and keep that space, no one's going to give it to me. And we all know those lists aren't going to end. They just aren't. That's the nature of having little people. That's the nature of being alive, I think. And
Hmm.
so that's something I'm struggling with. I now know that I have to carve and keep those spaces for myself, but I do go back and forth between, I kind of get to the boiling of resentment before I'm like, oh, have I done anything for myself? Have I insisted on taking that time even though things aren't done yet? It's hard. It's a hard thing.
yeah, and it kind of gets into the idea of balance. Like
Mm,
you're juggling all of these different things at the same
yeah.
time. Your energy is getting depleted. You know, what are your thoughts on balance?
Laura, I love your
Is
thoughts on balance. You do it.
Well, for me, I think honestly, and I need to flesh this out a little more, but at the base of it, balance is bullshit. Like, I don't think it's possible. It gives this notion that you're standing on a teeter-totter and everything's really precarious and one like quarter of an inch more and it's all going to come tumbling down. And we really do need to flush out this idea a little bit more, but I'm really toying with this idea of being able to be in one place and then the other. So it has to do with presence, that where can we honestly set up our own internal boundaries where,
Mm,
like, for instance, I now am the sole breadwinner of my family. So I'm the only one who's working. I'm also the parent or a parent, not the parent. There's another one. Uh, he's delightful. But we're we're trying to balance all of these things. And when I think of balance, it never goes well. And the hardest part, though, is that when I'm in work, if I'm not careful, I'm feeling guilty about not being with my family. And when I'm with my family, my head is literally in work. Like the creative wheels are spinning and I'm thinking about the things I need to do or stressing about the things I need to do. And that's not awesome either. So I'm trying to figure out, and I've come up with some great ways of how to set those boundaries internally so that I can be present with my family when I'm there and at work here. And then also carving out those boundaries for myself, which I have to say, those are the hardest ones to carve out, because it's hard to take care of yourself, but it's hard where the kids are sitting there saying, "What do you mean mommy's going to take, 30 minutes to not play with me and do something else?" And here I am, up here in my like office hole that I call it in the house, like doing yoga, and I can hear the kids screaming downstairs and I feel bad for Derek, where I'm like, "Oh, I should be helping," but it's like, but I shouldn't. Because I
Mm.
can't help if I don't take care of myself. So that aspect is probably the hardest part of this, but figuring out how to set those boundaries internally so that you're no longer balancing and you're completely present, guilt-free present in what you're doing in that moment and carving out the space that you need to, I think is key. And I've been struggling for the last few years with all of the wellness advice that's out there really doesn't make space for people like me who are balancing my own business. So I don't get an automatic paycheck. If I don't work, money doesn't come in. I don't also have, somebody to clean my house for me. So those things have to get done. And I don't have a personal trainer, a personal chef that can come and do the things for me. And I'm I'm seeing these things where they'll be like, your magic morning. You should get up at 5 a.m. and you need to journal for 20 minutes and you need to work out for 30 minutes. You also need to go outside for at least 20 minutes. You should meditate for 20 minutes twice a day. You should journal. And I'm like, I want to do all those things. And I would be a saint if I did, but I don't have time. If I did that, I would have, 20 minutes with my kids and 15 minutes to do work. And so it's like, how do you filter in all these wellness things where you actually can feel the benefits of them, but also live your life and not be, some of them I feel like it's like you have to live in an ashram to be able to get all those, like, check all those boxes every day. And so I think that's where the balance comes in. But as far as like balancing the things we have to do where our head is, I think that really is bullshit. That it's not possible to balance it. We have to find another way and another word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recently I heard a woman, I can't remember who it was, and if I find her name, I will put it in the show notes. But she said something really interesting about this. She was basically saying the same thing, that balance is bullshit. And she gave the analogy of, instead, why don't we talk about making a smoothie every day? Because your
Mm.
smoothie that you make every day is going to be something different. Some days it's going to have more banana, some days it's going to have blueberries, some days it's going to be a green smoothie. So like each of the pieces that go into your life may be different every day. So, today I have a ton of work that I have to do for my business. I can't be with the kids, but then the next day I'm going to level that out and spend a little more time with the kids or my husband or my wife, etc. I thought that was an interesting way to look
Hmm.
at that.
I really like that. And I think that what she's really getting at too is the perfectionism that we all play with and the rigidity that comes with that. So if we are, I can sit here all day long and put blocks in my calendar that, like, for these 4 hours, I do this, but it never works out because I'll
Mhm.
have some client who will slide in with something and I'm like, oh, I can't do this thing on the business that Kara and I have, or a kid's sick, or I'm sick. That's been happening too much too. Or I have a headache and can't sit at the computer all day long, or just any number of. Recently we had a family member who had an illness, and so that needed to be tended to, so I had to pull away from my computer so that Derek could go deal with that and be present with that family member. And there's all sorts of things that happen in those moments, and so I love that idea that we really can't do those things. And like, you can't be as rigid as 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day, which some people will, I've had coaches or people teaching business stuff who really put those things down. I'm like, that just doesn't work, where I touch my email at 8 a.m. and then I touch my Instagram at noon. And like, it just doesn't work when you have small children around and you don't have the help. So I feel like it's more of what you were talking about with this smoothie thing, is that sometimes it's going to work out that way where you can put chunks for everything in one single day. And sometimes it's going to be, you know what? I'm 12 hours at my laptop today. And then there's other days where it's like, I'm shutting it down, like, and I'm forcing myself to disconnect from it so that I can be present here and with my family. So I think that's really getting at that perfectionism, which, whew, we all need to get at that.
I'd like to share something maybe with your listeners that I've been experimenting with. Again, I feel like I was better at when I was single and only had myself to worry about. But this idea of balance, letting myself go from that, and again, trying to turn my attention into the sensations in my body. I tend to be cerebral, I tend to be verbal, and I try to figure out all my problems and issues by thinking about it and listing it and making it tighter, tighter, tighter. And can you guess if that works? Does not. So instead, I mean, very recently, just even out of desperation, I'm like, I used to pay attention to when I was hungry, when I was tired, when I had a notion in my brain that was like, something's not right. And in fact, it happened this morning with my son, came up, hugged me for the third time before we even left the house. I'm like, what's going on with you, buddy? And he's like, I don't know. And it occurred to me, I had a sensation in my body, and the light bulb went off. I'm like, his love cup is empty. We've been busy. My love cup is empty. We've been running and running. So instead of trying to balance and find, oh, well, it's this time, my body tells me that something is off. Let's move towards that. And right now, that's about all I can expect from myself. And then I love what Laura says about when you are in the family time, allow yourself to just be there. And those sensations and alarm bells that say, oh, but work, you can work with them and say, oh, okay, I hear you, alarm bells, but right now I'm doing this and I'm going to stay in this. And then vice versa with work. Oh, but my children. Okay, yep, you love your children, you care for them so much, but they're okay with my partner right now. We're going to stay in work right now, and to kind of both wrap your arms around every sensation, whatever it is, to allow it all, and then decide which wave you're going to ride. And when I'm feeling healthier and rested, I can do this. When I'm not, I do tend to get into that cerebral tight space, but it feels yucky. It feels yucky to tighten up like that. And I'm also not getting any closer to feeling cared for, to getting things done. So that's an experiment I'm diving back into.
I love that you brought that up, because that actually embodiment practices. I do the same thing. You should see my laptop. It is all sorts of calendars and lists. And like, I love a good project management software. I've got like 50 of them. It's just, that's how my brain works. But in the past year, it was about a year ago that I sat down and it's like, something's got to give. I am just all over the place. And I fell into a particular teacher who's now a teacher, a friend, and a client. And it's amazing. But at the same point, she teaches embodiment practices, and finally stepping into these very woo embodiment practices helped me way through all of the shoulds, all of the things that I have learned, and really cultivate my own North Star, my own direction. And I have to say, in the past year, I feel like this is where everything has crystallized and become so much clearer. And in every direction, where it, like, particularly the business, where it's like we really have a very clear path. Like, all of the turning our head in a million different directions has slowed drastically, and everything is really stepping one step at a time. But also, I feel clearer at home. I feel clearer with my kids, because I'm able to tap into what is my body saying, and what is, when you get through all of the monkey mind that the Buddhists call it, and all of the shoulds and the tales that we're told, and all those, you're supposed to meditate this many minutes a day. What feels right in this moment, in this day? And then we're getting back to that smoothie of like, okay, today's a green smoothie, and this is what I need to make this day be as high level and feel as good as it can be.
Absolutely.
So tell me about this new program that you guys have.
So excited about it.
We are excited.
So we have, in these last few years of working, and now both of us now run two separate businesses. We run one together. Kara runs a business with her husband. And then I have my own personal business. And in all of this, it was kind of going back to what we were talking about before, that we've taken all sorts of courses. We've purchased, like, coaching sessions. I've been part of masterminds, all of these things. I've learned so much. But the interesting thing is knowing everything that we know about wellness and everything we've learned about business in the last few years. The thing that's missing is, how do you implement it all as a parent? Because so many of the systems that are out there, they're great if you don't have kids, or if your kids are, self-sufficient,
Mhm.
are in college or driving themselves around, or if you have a staff, which, who has that? I wish I did. But if you don't have those things, then it's really hard to put these things into play. So you spend all this time just looking for the solution to the problem that is hard to know what it is. Like, it's hard to put it into words, but the problem is we're looking for that balance and we can't find it. We're trying to put that perfectionist structure onto a really messy existence as being a business owner and a parent at the same time. So we are turning towards that and starting a new, because we need another business, right, Kara? Um, starting a new venture that is meant to help facilitate that for people. So we're hoping to help women, which, little side note too. This past year, I was in a program with a coach who's delightful and very analytical. And I remember being on the sales call with her, and she asked me how much money I made last year. And I told her, and she's like, "Do you know that you made more than 70% of women entrepreneurs?" And let me tell you, the number was not in like the high seven figures. You know what I mean? Like, I was just floored of, like, really? Because I feel like we're we're okay, but we're not, I don't feel like we're about to put it, like, buy the mansion next door, anything like that. And so with this idea of all these mothers are out here trying to create financial freedom, and they are struggling with it for so many reasons. And we've been in that struggle. We've seen it. And we also have taken in both sides, where it's like all this wellness goodness, but then also all of these analytical business things that we can help you create these systems. So we're creating this coaching venture, these little mini masterminds, where the goal is to have a handful of people who can help support each other, and we can support them as they really implement these things and tap into their own bodies and figure out what's the right path for them without losing themselves and stepping towards that financial freedom.
Creating a structure for them to, well, helping them to create almost like an individualized structure to move towards their goals. What did they say? Loneliness and isolation is more dangerous for your health than smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And I think particularly the parent entrepreneur is super lonely because you don't have time to reach out. So I'm hoping for this all encompassing location for people to gather and have that community, ask their questions, start to build a path that works for them. And then we're here to help them support on that path. And that path is everything from, giving some resources for business ideas. We're not going to maybe go too deep into business, but we bring people in or give them resources to flesh out their business life, but to really tend to and care for their emotional life, their growth, their confidence, their sense of community, having something really solid underneath them so they can propel and build in a way that works best for them. And I'm excited about the coaching model because we don't have the answers. We've got some great ideas. Between the two of us, we have a heck of a lot of experience. And we have that at the ready to build depending on what we hear from them, depending on what the conversations are, to be really agile first, especially in this first round, to create what they're asking for and what they need. And in that way, we can start to create a bank of educational videos, of movement videos if needed, to really address the whole human. Because I think I've heard so many stories online. We get in a course of this amazing female entrepreneur, and she starts with, "When I got so sick, I had to go to the hospital because I was killing myself working."
Yeah.
How did she get there? And how can we not all head ourselves there? Because we want to do it all. We want to take it all. And in some situations, like Laura's describing, like, We have to take it all on. So, what makes it possible to both grow as a human and grow your wealth? Because if you're working this hard, there should be wealth and there should be health and there should be community. And that's the way we were developed as humans, but we've gotten away from that because we're not in these social gatherings anymore, the way we used to be at church, the way we used to be, or at the PTO luncheons. Like, we aren't gathering as humans anymore. So let's gather humans who have similar goals, very specific goals, and just are linked in that way, and let's rise these ships together.
I love the what you mentioned about the coaching model too, because really we chose to coach rather than instruct in this realm
Right.
because with parents and business owners, it's fluid. It's all different. I can certainly, I mean, my other business is writing copy. I can write you sales funnels all day long. I understand the black and white of all this, and I can certainly help somebody understand that too. But their sales funnel is going to be different. The way they interact with their family is going to be different. Their time allotment is going to be different. So rather than coming out and saying you must follow step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to financial freedom,
Mm.
and balance, it's actually, I love this because it's not, we're going to help people step into their own version of that, whatever that is, at whatever pace it takes, because it's not overnight too. And I think that's the message we're fed that makes us, as especially online business owners, banging our head up against the wall, because it's like, but shouldn't I be a millionaire now because that person was a millionaire using YouTube in like 3.2 seconds? What am I doing wrong with YouTube? And it's like, well, you're different. Everything about this is different. So how can we help people, parents in particular, really find how they can stay present, well, healthy, have healthy relationships, still have a life, and step their business to where they want it to be, wherever that might be?
That is so awesome. You guys are really speaking my language right now. I mean, I
Are you
love,
signing up for our first group?
you never
Yeah,
know.
love
I don't know.
it.
It's just funny. It's because I've been doing some training myself on funnels, right? And you get like kind of the bro marketing
Yes.
Mm,
speak,
Ugh.
and it's not a good fit. Like, the information is good,
Mhm.
but that energy coming at me is
Mhm.
not right for me.
Yep.
And I think what you're talking about with this coaching model is like that ideal fit where you can talk to a person and see where they're at and help
Yeah.
them in the way that they need to be helped. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think everything we've created in the past relies on the insistence that everything you need, you, me, all of us, all of our students, is already within them. And sometimes there's just a lot of work to do to uncover it, to get rid of social norms, to get rid of preconceived notions, to get rid of how hard we are on ourselves. And so part of this coaching model is just lifting the veil and helping them to unfurl again, because it's all in there. We just, especially in parenting, I think we lose some of that professional confidence because I don't know, they're always complaining and we're always doing stuff wrong and they're waking us up at night. And it's like, it's intense, the need from us. And there's always that question, are they okay? Are they sick? It just kind of erodes that confidence. So let's build it back up, because it's not gone. It's just buried under boogers and tissues and pancakes and whatever else, you
Laundry in my
know,
life.
laundry. Yeah.
Awesome. So, where can people find more information about your program?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the yoga studio does still exist. And as it's getting, we're shifting over. That's at intuitivewarrior.yoga. You can find all of that. And then we have just shifted to this new venture, which I love. And the name of it is Ruby Bells, which is actually named after our daughters. They are two nicknames for our daughters that we were able to put together. So I'm super excited that we landed on that. It was actually one of those embodiment moments where I was like, this just feels right. It's so good. But rubybells.com. And then I actually have to look because we just made it. It is Ruby Bells Coaching on Instagram. So you can find us there as well. And we'll be there, and we are ready to we're just really excited about this. Honestly, it really does feel like the calling, you know what I mean? That full on embodiment calling of we're in the right place at the right time. We went through the right steps, and we had to go through all those steps to get here. And this just feels so good.
That is so awesome. I'm so excited for you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having us.
having us. This is awesome.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. You can also find more about each episode on the website at wellnessinachaoticworld.com. Or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, where we can chat more about living well in this stressed out, chaotic world. And as always, I hope you have a healthy, happy week. If today's episode resonated with you, our private Facebook group is a great place to dive deeper, ask questions, and share wins with people who understand. It's free, it's private, and you can join by clicking the link in the episode description. I hope to see you there.